Hey everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So my name is Dave. I am a student information specialist for McMaster Continuing Education, and we're going to be chatting about tech and data programs today. We got lots to cover, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in, and I'm sure some more people may filter in over the next few minutes. We want to recognize and acknowledge that McMaster University is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations, and within the lands protected by the Dish with the One Spoon Wampum Agreement. So we have our technology program overview. So these are the programs that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be chatting first about data analytics, data science, big data programming, and architecture. These three programs are kind of the introductory, intermediate, and senior level of the same topic. It's a little more nuanced than that, but that's, not a bad summary. We also have a new program we're going to be discussing called Applied AI for Industries. We're going to be talking about our open source intelligence program, our data governance program, which is also fairly new, and our full stack development program. So lots to cover. So let's jump right in and talk about data analytics. Okay. So um, so data analytics, what you'll learn in this program is how to apply statistical methods for the analysis of data sets, how to collect, analyze, interpret, and share data, how to identify relationships in data, how to select and employ problem-solving techniques, source standard and web-based tools to test analytical solutions, and employ data models in business intelligence, so BI stuff, and data analysis case studies. Um, this is one of, if not maybe our most popular program at the moment. We get a ton of interest in it, a ton of questions about it. And I think for reasons that are probably obvious to you, if you are attending this webinar today, you're probably thinking that this is a good that tech and data are valuable areas to go into, and lots of people certainly agree with you. Because yeah, these are clearly very in demand skills and knowledge. So this, like I said, this data analytics program is sort of the introductory level. This is what we're talking about in terms of what the program actually consists of. Okay, so basically, you can earn a certificate of professional learning in data analytics, which is 3 courses, and or you can go for the full certificate, which is 5 courses. Now, you can also take as many courses as you want. You can take more than 5 if you want to, but these are the credentials that we give out, that we offer. Okay, so basically, they're all the same courses for like these two things on the screen right now. And if you take 3, you can graduate with a certificate in professional learning. You take 2 more than that, you'll get the full certificate in data analytics. Yeah, the courses are in a mix of on the online format and then virtual classroom format. Um, since this is the first program, I just want to briefly explain what our different learning formats are, because we're going to run into a few of them. So when you see reference to the online learning format, that is talking about our learning format that is asynchronous. So there are no class times for online courses. You log in and you will see there's due dates for things, and you have to submit them by that time. There will be, like class discussions in like a forum mode. They may do something once in a while that is a sort of a timed event where it'll be kind of like a meet and greet with your instructor, with your peers, but that wouldn't be mandatory. So basically, if you're taking an online course, you know that there's no specific time that you absolutely have to be there, with the exception maybe being if you're doing a group project or something, and then you have to meet up with your peers at a certain time, that you agree on, right? Um, But so that's what online is. Virtual classroom is what it sounds like. So there is a virtual, there's instructors, there's a live element, and you are expected to show up at certain times. So it's somebody, talking to you like this on a camera, and you show up at certain times for the classes, and you are expected to be there at that time. There's often participatory grading that goes on. So you're going to be graded on your participation in the class, as along with other things that you'd be graded on, certainly, but assignments and stuff. But anyway, that's how that works. So what we're saying about data analytics here, so just keep those sort of definitions in mind for when we're talking about the rest of them. But data analytics includes some courses in both formats. So you kind of have to be prepared to do both of them. Um, Although I think there are definitely fewer ones that are online than virtual class. I think most of them are virtual classroom. So, yeah, just so keep that in mind. It's a good thing to sort of know going forward. So, just sort of skim over our data analytics industry highlights here. I'm not gonna read out every bullet point on this slide, don't worry, but I'll just let you take a look at this. You can see what some of the top skills are, what the top job titles, and some of the top employers. And I mean, these are just, these are selections that we've made really in all of these sections. These are just kind of the top ones that we chose to not have too much information on the slide, in these categories. But there are, like you can find this work obviously in any city and, in many different industries with many different employers, etc. Right? So yeah, but this is just to give you an idea, a little taste of what to expect in regards to this information. Okay. So let's move on then to data science. So data science covers some very similar ground. There's even a little bit of overlap in some of the courses you can take towards like the data analytics certificate versus the data science certificate. Data science is it's going into a little bit different areas, and it's just the subject matter tends to be a little bit more intermediate. So maybe maybe you already have some background in this, and you would find your data analytics courses a bit basic. Well, then maybe you could jump into this. So just to sort of read through these things here, this is going over things like how to translate a business problem into an analytical problem, proposing and refining analytical solutions to business problems, problem-solving techniques and software tools to test analytical solutions, common industry software tools, and how to identify, test, and evaluate model structures to solve a business problem. So similar to data analytics, we have the way that these are actually laid out is we have a 3-course certificate of professional learning and a 5-course certificate. By the way, I'll just mention off the top of my head here, in case anybody is wondering, what is a certificate of professional learning exactly? What is that? Well, that's just that's our name for a credential that we offer that is it's made up of academic courses. So all these courses are, when I say academic, I mean that they are weighted the same as a traditional undergraduate course from McMaster University, let's say, right? So you could theoretically, you could use any of these courses as transfer credit into a bachelor's degree, for example. So certificate of professional learning is just saying that's our name for the credential that we offer for a very short academic course. It's 3 courses. It's not long enough to be officially a certificate, so but we wanted to offer a shorter credential so you can just take 3. That's why there is this distinction. So like with data analytics, you can take the three courses to get a certificate of professional learning, or you can take 5 courses to get a certificate in data science. And as it says there, these are all in virtual classroom format. So those live classes, right? Okay. Similar with this, since it's the same industry, right? It's the same basic stuff. So we'll just quickly gloss through this slide here. You can see it's the same kind of stuff overall as data analytics. I'm also going to say, I mean, I guess that's a pretty good number of job postings there, but the job postings that the number of postings that we have is definitely like approximate. I mean, if you're looking on a worldwide scale, I mean, there are tons and tons and tons of jobs out there, and 8,000 something is probably even, even probably lowballing it there. So, um, data science. Here's a quote. Here's a quote from Sean, a recent graduate of this program. He said, "I was recently accepted in a Bachelor of Science in Data Science and Business Analytics. The work completed at MCE played a part in obtaining that acceptance. I would highly recommend the value of content at McMaster and overall the education." Awesome. Yeah, so for him that worked out great. And I will say that although this program it doesn't require you to have any post-secondary background, but we also have lots of students. In fact, I'm not really sure how the numbers break down off the top of my head, but we have a very good number of students who are on the other end of that, right? They're coming in after their undergraduate degrees, and they are or after a master's degree. Really, at any stage of education, people are coming in and looking for these programs to sort of enrich what they already have, and that helps them specialize towards something that they are trying to go towards now, whether that is the next stage of their education or whether that is, career, getting a career pivot or career launch or whatever it may be. Let's talk about big data architecture, okay? So what you'll learn in this program is how to implement cloud computing concepts, how to build a variety of IT infrastructure on the cloud, how to propose and refine analytical solutions to business problems, how to collect, analyze, interpret, and share data, as well as identifying relationships in data, and how to work with open source and scalable database tools. So, like I said, this is kind of the most senior level of our data programs. But it might be just the thing that you're looking for if you are already, pretty well established, pretty knowledgeable in this area, but you are looking to expand into kind of a senior level of this. Um, it's set up the same way as the sort of the sister programs that we talked about. So you can complete 3 or you can complete 5. I won't belabor that point any further because I'm sure you folks, understand the pattern by now. So yeah, complete 3 courses, or if you want to do a little bit more, complete 5 courses, and those are it's the same type of credential that you can get. Okay, and again, yes, the same types of jobs, the same types of these are actually a little bit more. This program typically would lead to a little bit more senior job titles. So I shouldn't say the same jobs, but I just mean it's, you're working on the same kind of teams and overall teams within an organization, right? And working with the same basic like concepts in terms of the top skills on the left there, right? Yeah. If you are the kind of person who who knows about who knows what they're looking for in this field, you already know, right? But Yeah, that's kind of the overview of it. So I'm going to scoot right along now to talk about this new Applied AI for Industries program. So, to give you the overview here, this is looking at how to build in-demand, or how to build in-demand skills in creative AI application development, healthcare solutions, retail optimization, etc. You're going to develop hands-on projects using tools like Azure OpenAI. You're going to learn from industry experts and explore responsible, ethical AI practices. And you're going to gain insights through real-world case studies and applications. So yeah, this is this is the big one right now, isn't it? It feels like we hear about AI stuff constantly. And there's a lot of people. This is very, very new, this program. It's barely been live on our website for not too long at this point. And I expect once word gets out about it, for it to be very popular, because this is something that a lot of people are obviously looking to get a handle on, right? Um, so this was designed in partnership, as it says here, with M2M Tech. It's a flexible online program that offers practical, hands-on learning to help you lead innovation in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape. That is the program. If you would like to know more, reach out to us. We can provide a little bit more info. And I'm going to talk now for a couple minutes about open source intelligence. So this is another program we offer. If you're familiar with sort of OSINT research, then you probably know how widely applicable this skill set can be. But our little blurb here on the program says that you're going to learn to utilize the latest technology and advanced research techniques, learn how to recognize cyber threats and safeguard your security, or sorry, your safety and privacy online, how to accurately assess the value and quality of online sources and data, and how to design tools and processes to collect and manage data, and how to use various tools and methods to monitor online and social media sources in real time. Um, so the credential breakdown for this one is a little different. It is they are so it's a mix of online self-study and virtual classroom courses in this program. And you have to get this one, it's a certificate of completion. Certificate of completion is one that we haven't encountered in this slideshow yet. But that is basically a shorter credential that is it's non-academic courses. So these courses wouldn't be, say, transferable into degree studies, just because, and that is usually because the courses don't necessarily have like an academic focus. So there's not, at least currently, like a bachelor's at McMaster in open source intelligence or something, right? But nevertheless, it's not really an academic subject per se, because you're just talking about sort of research tools and strategies, how to do some really advanced, like, research techniques online. But it is nevertheless an important subject, and a very, very valuable skill set, right? So just to sort of help you understand, like, why we make that distinction, it's basically just for technical reasons, right? But yeah, so this program is, you complete 4 courses, and you earn a digital micro credential, which is it's a digital micro credential in the form of a certificate of completion. And the 4 courses, will, since there's just the 4 of them, we'll mention them here. They're tradecraft and operations, Python for basic collection, Python for advanced collection, and data mining and analysis essentials. And you can see those last 3 courses are in the online self-study format, and the tradecraft operations is in the virtual classroom. I will briefly mention that the online self-study format is very similar to the online format that we talked about earlier. So it is also asynchronous. The difference with online self-study is that it offers a little bit more flexibility. So basically, these courses are typically online self-study courses are normally about 6 months in duration for the maximum possible duration of that course. But you can get through the course content faster than that if you want to. If you want to work through it quicker, you can get through it all. For these courses, I'm not sure off the top of my head what the minimum completion time is, but you definitely will be able to complete them faster than than the whole runtime. And so basically they're offering that, like, more flexibility, or if you want to, you can spread it out over longer, obviously, right? You have that maximum time to get through them as well. Uh, And otherwise it's like online. And if you go to our webpage and you click on any link that says learning formats, you're going to come to a page that fully defines all these learning formats. It's on there's a link on every program page if you want to go and look at this for yourself. And I may go and show it to people when I get through to the end of the presentation as well, if I have time. Okay, so um, so yeah, open source industry highlights. So yeah, you can see here on the left there's some top skills. On the right, we have some top job titles. And I'm just gonna say also that we could definitely, I mean, these are the top job titles, but really you could use these skills in a lot of different areas. I mean, I know personally that these skills are used in they're used in journalism. They could be used in like market research, sort of, political opposition research, academic research. There's a lot of avenues that this could be applied towards. So, this top job title is almost really underselling it. So, just keep that in mind. There's a ton of things that this can apply to. Okay, so next we're going to talk about data governance. Like I said, this is a pretty new one as well. I think this one's been around for like one term or something so far, but it's an interesting one. So this is talking about the essential components of data management, including data quality, security, and accessibility. Key elements for a robust data governance framework, including data stewardship, ownership, and governance councils, and tools and best practices that help streamline the development and implementation of a data strategy. And yeah, so with this program, this is a little bit different from the others that we've talked about in that you can earn a micro credential for each specific course. We have a lot of people come to us and ask this for like any program that we offer, if they will get a micro credential for earning for completing single courses towards a larger credential. And most programs do not work that way, but this one does. So that's good news for all the people who are always asking me that. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, if you're interested in this subject, I mean, basically to kind of summarize that in my own words, what this program is you're learning responsible data, sort of, policy, um, policy concepts, right? For management of a database, whether you're talking about like, user data, patient data in a health setting, government work, right? Like this could apply to all sorts of different scenarios, right? Um, so uh, the full program here is that if you complete these 4 courses that are listed here, you get a certificate of completion in data governance, and you also get you can also earn a micro credential for each individual course. Yeah, micro credential just being that digital thing you can share as a bite-sized snippet to kind of give people details on the specifics of what these topics taught you. So you can include that for any employer who is wanting to like drill down on, well, what is managing a data governance program? What does that entail exactly? What did they learn on this? And they can go in and see more details. So that is what that one is all about. And as you can see, the career section here is suitably very large with a lot of different job titles and industries being related here, right? So I'll give you folks a moment to just sort of look at that. I'm not going to go through all the bullets here, but you can see there's a lot that this can potentially relate to. Okay. Just in the interest of time, I'm gonna move right along here, and we're gonna go over to full stack development. So, uh, full stack development, what you're gonna learn is this is kind of split up into 3 sections here. So, um, I'm just going to summarize this. It's basically what you would expect from a learn to code program. Okay, so you're gonna basically there's three courses on UX UI. There's three courses on front end development, and there's three courses on back end development. So it's a total of 9 courses in total. And you can see some of the specifics here are laid out on this slide. So have a read of this as I'm talking, and you can get a sense of what it is that they're going to be going over in those 9 courses. Okay. So again, the way the credential breakdown in this is that you can get a so this is actually a little bit this is actually a little bit like strange the way that it's written here. So I'm just going to clarify that it's 3 different certificates that you can potentially get. So it would be if you take the 3 courses in, say, front end development, you would get a certificate of professional learning in front end development. Okay. If you did the 3 courses in back end development, you could get the certificate of professional learning in back end development. If you did the 3 courses in UX UI, you get a certificate of professional learning in UX UI. If you decide to do all 9, then you get the diploma in full stack development. Okay, that is how it actually works. Now, I want to point out that this program has something unique, which is that if you want to do that, if you want to earn the certificates as you go along, and then also get the diploma, you can do that. This program is unique in that it allows you to earn 4 credentials in total for 9 courses in total. Okay, and that is pretty spectacular. So yeah, again, it's a certificate of professional learning for each section that consists of 3 courses, and a diploma on top of that for the full 9, for 4 credentials in total that you are getting out of this program. Which again, our other programs, save for the one I mentioned about that lets you get a micro credential for each course as you go along. Our other I guess, our programs are maybe moving towards this a little bit, but most programs do not allow this. So that's a really neat feature of this program, and you can really split it up to, focus on maybe just the thing you want to know, or go for the whole thing if you want. So cool stuff. Okay. Um, so we have some little fun fact here. Did you know that the demand for full stack developers is projected to increase by 16% from 2021 to 2031? And Mariana had to say that the courses offered are invaluable and taught by the best of the best. And completing courses at McMaster Continuing Education will only put one at an advantage when it comes to obtaining and retaining a job. That quote is actually like half covered by my Zoom interface, but I think I got that right. So, give me some kudos if I did. Okay, full stack development industry highlights. And so you can see here we have some similar info here for full stack development industry. So yeah, top skills as you would expect, right? That's what they're looking for in the field. It looks like the top job titles. It looks like a lot of people are really looking for UX, but keep in mind, obviously, there is tons of employment for front end developers and back end developers as well. Through the tool we were using, these were just the top 5 job titles that that came up because yeah, I guess tons of people need UX regardless of whether the maybe your programming is outsourced to somewhere else, right? Um, so yeah. So moving on from that, then more tech and data programs. These are the other programs that we offer that we haven't included, full slides on in the webinar today because we don't have time to get through everything. But just to list those off, we have a health analytics program. That one's 3 courses, which is pretty nice. And we have a privacy management program. We offer corporate training. So by this, we're talking about if you are looking around our website and you don't see quite the exact thing that you're looking for, you can and if you represent a company, or you work at a company and you want to have a bunch of people in to get like some customized training that isn't, where something that we're offering isn't quite hitting the mark for exactly what you're looking for, reach out to us about that, because we will do sort of customized training programs for a corporate client. Our EdExpress programs, these are short, like I'm talking a few sessions, a few sessions over a few days perhaps, in kind of fun and interesting subjects like the history of rock music, or AI prompts, or something along those lines, right? They have so those are some fun options, kind of some general interest courses that we offer under the EdExpress banner. We have a bunch of learning. We have some learning partners where we offer a whole suite of different programs and subjects that aren't even listed here, with our learning partners Ed2Go and YouGotClass. And we also offer a certified AWS developer and certified AWS SysOps administrator program. Those are shorter programs that we offer, but you can find the info about those on our website. And under some of those, a couple examples of those partnered programs are SQL and Power BI courses. Those are under those Ed2Go or YouGotClass partnerships. But when I'm talking about partnered courses, basically, if you just scroll down on our tech and data program section, you'll find partnered courses, and you'll find the partnered courses that are under the tech and data category. And so you'll see even more options. So that SQL, that Power BI, those would be some examples of that. Okay. We're gonna touch quickly on essentials programs as well. So essentials is a whole category that we have of most of them are actually not really tech focused. There are some sort of tech leaning ones, but most of them are more sort of like business skills, communication skills, leadership skills, kind of more soft skill focused with these programs. These are short programs, Zoom classes. If you've ever taken like sort of corporate training through, like, a lunch and learn session kind of thing at work, these are kind of similar to that. You join in for an hour, at one session, and then maybe another session of an hour, maybe a third session of an hour. And if you complete enough courses in essentials, well, it's basically enough time, enough days of instruction, and which is how we lay it out, since the courses are sort of of varying lengths. You can end up getting a certificate of completion in essentials competence, and then it's kind of broken down by section, whether it's business or communication essentials, etc. So those are some options that we have as well. It might be interest for, especially like for, getting together with some colleagues, doing that, getting your work to pay for it, stuff like that. It's just some professional development type stuff that is a nice thing to have on your resume, and some good skills. So yeah, this slide here is just talking about, pretty much just summarizing all the stuff that I just explained. Those are the full names. They're Earn Essentials Program, specific or multi-competency certificate. Yeah, so you can break them down by category, or you can sort of do a mix and matched one, which is called multi-competence certificate of completion. If you go to our website, if you go look at essentials if you're a little lost here, just go to essentials on our website. It kind of lays it out a little bit more visually, and it's easy to understand when you look at it that way. Yeah, and if of course if you have any questions, just let us know as well. Those are the streams. These are the streams of essentials courses that I mentioned. So business, communication, innovation, leadership, productivity, team essentials. Those are like the different things you can do, and you don't have to stick to one of those. Like I said, you can mix and match them as well. So this slide just has a little bit more information about corporate and professional training. So like I was saying before, if you're interested in corporate training, that's something that we can offer by, talking to you and then tailoring courses that are led by field experts to meet your organization's needs. And yeah, and and it's high quality training with assessments and real world applications, etc. Um, so yeah, I think everybody sort of gets the idea on that since I talked about that already. And here's just another slide with a little bit more information about micro-credentials. So this is talking about, like I said, these are digitally shareable. It's something you can put on your digital resume, on your LinkedIn profile, and it's just easily shareable with employers and whatever sort of platform, whatever medium we're talking about. And yeah, as with all our courses, they are online, they are online learning, not necessarily learn at your own pace, but a lot of them are pretty, we do have many, online self-study courses, though it does, offer you some flexibility in that for sure. And yeah, of course, our instructors are experienced and, best in class. So, yeah, yeah. And here's oh yeah, so here's a little here's a little slide actually that we have about financial assistance. So regardless of whether I'm not sure if we got that link up or not, but if we did not, here is some of that information summarized. So the one of the most widely applicable funding options is the one that is called this one was kind of a mouthful of a name here, but it's the McMaster Association of Part-Time Students Bursary and McMaster Continuing Education Award. So basically, to summarize this one as simply as I can, if you are a McMaster Continuing Education student, then you could potentially be eligible for this one just based on being a continuing education student. The other half of it is for McMaster University students who are part-time. You don't have to be part-time in order to be eligible for this, though. But they will have some eligibility option. Well, they will have some eligibility requirements where they are looking at your financials similar to the way like OSAP would. If you're wondering, are you eligible for OSAP? No, we are not. We get that question every day, but these are some of the other funding options that you can pursue. This first one, this award for continuing education students, is potentially better than OSAP if you can get it because you don't have to pay it back, right? So that is pretty awesome. There's also some Canadian/Ontario government funded training programs like Better Jobs Ontario and the Canada Ontario Job Grant. Windmill microlending is loans for skilled immigrants and refugees specifically. So if you're an immigrant, you've got your and you've got your training that doesn't, that they're saying you have to retrain over here or whatever the case may be. This would be a great one for you to look into. We also encourage people to, ask their employers about any tuition assistance programs that may be available. Lots of employers do provide this. And bigger employers typically, right? Financial institution, of course, just go to you can just go to your bank, look for look at getting an RESP and that sort of thing, right? Or lines of credit, etc. Okay, so moving on from that, yeah, how to register. So the registration criteria on the side here, you'll see similar language on our website. And just to clarify what this means, if you are a high school student who has not graduated high school yet, or you are taking a break from high school, then maybe it's not the best idea to enroll in our courses just yet. If you're anybody else, you're you're considered ready for this program. Basically, we expect people to, for all our programs, unless stated otherwise. There's a couple of programs that say you should have this, like we talked about with data science, right? Big data architecture, right? You should have some experience in that. But in terms of like hard requirements that, we don't, all the programs that we've talked about today, and the vast majority of programs outside of these ones as well, at continuing education do not have an application process. They have open enrollment. If you want to take the course, you buy that course and you're in the program. That's it. Okay. We expect people to have strong English skills and a computer, internet access, right? Uh, and outside of that, you can take a look at the course, the course content, what's being covered, and decide if this is a good fit for you, for your skills, for your aptitudes, right? Uh, so I believe we have, let me see. Okay, before I tackle this, I'm gonna actually quickly bounce over to our website here, so I can just show you exactly how enrolling in courses works. So I'm just gonna go to a tech and data program here. So we were talking about data analytics. Let's look at that as an example, okay? So if I'm looking to take data analytics courses, I'm going to navigate to that section on the website. I'm going to go to certificates, and this is where the courses are actually found. And you can see here, this is talking about the certificates. So if you want the certificate, you take any of these 5 courses. If you want to take a shorter program, like we said, you take any 3. And they're the same courses. They're the same courses in both sections here. It's just you take 5 or you take 3. Okay. So let's suppose that I want to start with DAT 100, Foundations of Computer Programming. If you are like new to this subject, this is the best course to take first, okay? It's not a hard requirement or whatnot, but it's a good idea. This goes over like the stuff you should definitely know before getting into this other stuff. So if I want to start with this course, I'm just going to click on it. And I'm gonna choose a section so you can see that it's running from September to December, or next year from January 12th to April 12th. So if I want to start it this fall, I'm going to click on this one. I'm gonna read this information to make sure that I know what's going on. I can make sure that I can make these meeting times, right? Or no, I'm sorry. This is my mistake. This is an online program. This is asynchronous. So basically this is saying it starts at 9 a.m. on the official start date of the course. That's basically just saying that is the earliest you can access it. You don't have to be there at 9 a.m. There are no times for online courses. Okay. So when you look at that, that is going to be, make sure you understand what it is you're getting, and then you just add it to cart. And then when you're done that, you go over to your cart and you click on it and you click proceed to checkout. And that's it. And then you follow the instructions. There's going to be instructions. If it's your first time doing this, it's going to be, it's going to prompt you to create an account. And that's how that works. Okay. So, and that covers one of the questions that we have on the FAQ section here anyway. So, in terms of how do I enroll, right? That's how you do it. Once you finish the enrollment process, you're going to get some emails, not right away. Some people email us like immediately afterwards and say, I didn't get an email, but it should come in like about 15 minutes, usually within, thereabouts. Once you finish enrolling, you're going to get some further emails that give you more instructions on what to do next. Is just completing sort of account setup and making sure that your account is going to be activated to log into our learning platform. Okay. The cost is going to be, what is the cost? That's the next FAQ question. It's the cost is going to be the prices that you see on the courses for the most part. Okay. So you saw on that data analytics course, it was like 800 and something, I believe, right? So that is going to account for most of what you're going to be paying. The vast majority of courses that we offer, including I'm pretty sure every single course we've talked about today, does not charge any tax. So the prices that you see are almost always like there's not going to be any tax added to that at the checkout. That is the price. And there are some courses that do require you to purchase a textbook or two. A typical price range for textbooks per course would be, I'm going to say 75 to $130. Like that's probably the sort of average range there for textbook costs per course. The duration of courses, as we've talked about, really depends on the course. And as you can see when you're purchasing it, you can see exactly what the date range is. Understanding that if you are taking a online self-study course, you can get through it faster than that maximum time. At some times of the year, there's not a whole lot of these on the website right now, but there's a chunk of the of the sort of the summertime typically where a lot of courses will show as unavailable. That just means it's not running right now. It doesn't mean it's canceled, doesn't mean it's never coming back or anything like that. It just means that you can enroll for it right now because it's not open at the moment. But a lot of people ask us about that, but that's what sort of grayed out unavailable courses mean. By the way, I'm going to mention that every program page has a schedule tab, so you can always click on the schedule tab, and it's kind of a drop down thing if you're on mobile. If you're on desktop, it's right there and it's our dead center, and you can click on it and you can look at the schedule tab and you can see what we are planning or what we have done recently. There's kind of a full year cycle. So at this point right now, if you're looking in the schedule tab, it shows the upcoming fall term, the upcoming winter term, and the current spring summer term that we're in right now. So we don't have spring summer courses. We don't have spring summer courses yet for um, uh, for next year, right? Anytime you're on our website, just go to the contact section. You can fill out that contact form. Myself and my colleague Shima are staffing that all the time, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So just reach out if you have any further questions that were answered by this webinar today. And I will wrap it up here. And thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Okay, take care.